You have a roof over your head. Maybe a decent job. People who care about you. By every external measure, things are fine. But there is this quiet feeling, persistent, embarrassing, hard to name, that you have no idea what you are doing here. Not in the dramatic, crises at 3 a.m. sense. Just in the ordinary Tuesday sense. The sense that you are moving, but not toward anything. That life is happening, and you are somewhere inside it, but the thread connecting you to a direction has gone slack. Here is the paradox. Nobody tells you. Feeling lost is not a sign that you have failed to find your purpose. In most cases, it is a sign that you are finally honest enough to stop pretending you have one. That distinction matters a lot. We have inherited a story about purpose that goes roughly like this. There is a calling somewhere out there with your name on it, and the task of your life is to find it. That if you feel lost, you have not found it yet. Once you do, the lostness disappears, and everything clicks. It is a tidy story. It is also, for most people, completely wrong. Because problem is not that purpose does not exist. The problem is that we have confused purpose with a destination, something fixed, permanent, and waiting to be discovered, like a buried treasure. So when we feel the absence of it, we assume something has gone wrong. We assume we are broken. We fill the gap with distraction, optimization, advice columns, 5-step frameworks. But what if lostness is not a malfunction? What if it is the thing that actually precedes clarity? Not accidentally, but necessarily. That is not comfort. That is a different map entirely. Before modern navigation, sailors used a method called dead reckoning. You start from a known position, track your speed, your heading, your time elapsed, and you estimate where you are. It is imprecise. It is sometimes wrong, but it is not random. The interesting thing about dead reckoning is that it only works if you are actually moving. You cannot reckon from a standstill. The method requires motion, even uncertain, imperfect, partially blind motion to generate the information you need to adjust your course. Most people who feel lost are not adrift. They have simply stopped. They're waiting for certainty, for the right conditions, for the feeling of readiness, and the waiting is producing nothing to navigate by. Lostness is not the storm. Lostness is often the stillness before you push off again. You do not find direction by thinking harder about direction. You find it by moving and paying attention to what the movement reveals. Viktor Frankl spent 3 years in Nazi concentration camps, including Auschwitz, and came out with a theory of meaning that is almost impossible to dismiss, not because it is optimistic, because it was tested in the harshest possible conditions. He observed that the prisoners who survived psychologically were not the ones with the most comfortable circumstances. They were the ones who had found, or maintained, a sense that their suffering was oriented toward something, a person to return to, a book to finish, a testimony to give. His conclusion was sharp. Meaning is not found. It is made. And it is made specifically in response to your particular life, your particular moment, your particular confusion, not from some universal template. The Stoics had a related idea. Marcus Aurelius kept reminding himself in private notes, never meant to be published, that the obstacle and the path are often the same thing, that what disrupts you is also what instructs you, that resistance is not the enemy of progress. It is the terrain. Feeling lost is resistance, and resistance, who said honestly, is information. The question is not, when will this end? The question is, what is this trying to show me? There is a distinction worth drawing between 2 types of lostness. The first is disorientation. You do not know where you are, but you are paying attention. You are gathering information. You are honest about what you do not know. This type of lostness is uncomfortable, but it is alive. It is productive. It is the thing that precedes genuine clarity. The second is avoidance, dressed as lostness. You are not really confused about direction so much as you are afraid to commit to one, because committing to one means foreclosing others, and that feels like loss. So instead you stay in motion without direction, which feels like searching but is actually a form of hiding. Both feel the same from the inside. The difference is whether you are using the uncertainty or inhabiting it. Using lostness means treating it like data. What did you move toward this week? Ebb and slightly. What made time feel different? What question keeps coming back? Not because you chose it, but because it will not leave. These are not answers. They are vectors. And vectors, pointed honestly, eventually become direction. Before we close, 3 questions worth sitting with. Not to solve, just to notice. What is one thing you keep returning to, not because it is useful, but because it pulls you? Where in your life are you mistaking comfort for contentment? If feeling lost is part of the process, not a detour from it, what would you do differently this week? Write them down if you want. Or just let them sit. We started here. You have everything that should be enough. And yet, is not ingratitude. It is not a personality flaw. It is the specific pressure that meaningful lives are made under. The ancient philosophers knew it. The psychologists who came after them confirmed it. And if you are honest, some part of you already knows it too. Feeling lost is not the absence of a path. It is, often, the beginning of finding one you can actually stand on. The compass does not always point north the moment you open it. Sometimes it spins, sometimes it settles slowly, over time, in response to where you move and what you notice along the way. The sailors who found new continents did not wait for certainty. They pushed off from shore with the best information they had, corrected as they went, and paid close attention to what the journey itself revealed. You can do the same.